is 7:34, and I would like to call this meeting. I would like to call this meeting of the City of Beaver Dam Common Council to order. I apologize for the late start. Our administrative committee went just a tad long, so we will get started now. The first item is the roll call.
Bierman. Fournette.
Here.
Fournette. Hurry.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
Flaherty.
Here.
Gansky.
Here.
Hiley.
Here.
Keel.
Here.
Olson.
Present.
Perkins.
Here.
Wild.
Here.
Yuds.
Here.
Zop.
Here.
And let the record show that Alder Bierman notified us that he was going to be absent today. Next item up is the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by silent deliberation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and not meta, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is our citizen comment period. And again, just to go over the basic rules, you're allowed to speak for 2 minutes. The clerk will ring the bell, or the clerk will ring the bell when your 2 minutes are up. At that point, please finish whatever sentence you're completing. Remember to avoid profanity or name calling to keep your comments respectful. So first up is Joe Bruns, I believe.
Good evening. I have lived in Beaver Dam here for over 35 years. I raised my kids here. I had a number of foster kids that lived with me. One of the things I always taught them was, the truth. And if there's situations or anything, bring it to me face to face. Now, one of the things I just heard in the previous meeting upstairs here that I think is really remarkable. One of the council members here said, geez, I wish I would have known about that sooner. Now, if you guys wish that you heard about things sooner, what do you think about the rest of us? I mean, we've been, this thing was all in the dark, basically a done deal. And yet we had no say in any of it up until basically it was too late. All right. Now we're finding out we're planning on putting some more centers in here. And you know what? I wish that we could take the council members here statement before and maybe let us know about it. I think everybody here wishes they knew about it and all the details. Couple other things that I want to address. And I've read some of the lists of the chemicals that are going to be used in these sites. Have any of you actually taken the time? I mean, the federal motor carriers publish an MSDS booklet with everything that is there as far as the chemicals, their hazards, their cleanups, and everything else. Have any of you actually looked at what the hell this kind of mess, if this gets out, happens? Really? That's 2 minutes?
Mhm.
You're using a faster stopwatch than I've ever seen, but anyhow, I'm inviting every one of you over to my house October 15th, 2020, because I hunt the public land. And I am inviting each and every one of you for a duck dinner because they're probably flying off the retention ponds out there. Mark your calendars. 23rd.
Next up is Stephanie Wiedenhaft.
AI is first and foremost an instrument of death. AI feeds death with the senseless death of countless priceless lives in the name of power and money for the elite few. The corporations that are racing to feed death are soulless. You, who have pimped us out to AI, have been groomed and or corrupted by the promise of wealth. We did not want the first data center, so you insult us by saying the second data center is smaller than the first. We know that the second is needed to support the first and usher in 3 more. AI is the death of trust between citizens and elected officials, eroded by closed doors, closed ears, and closed minds. AI is the death of creativity, free thought, privacy, and autonomy. AI is death of the imperfections and differences that make us beautiful and unique. With the construction of and pollution from data centers, AI feeds death the precious lives of soil microbes, fungi, insects, plants, trees, birds, fauna, and biodiversity. AI data centers feed death the water by contaminating and depleting it. By bringing any data center into our community, you feed death with our precious children, who will endure lung and heart disease, cancers, and mental illness from the stress and fatigue from the constant noise, light, air, and water pollution, as well as water scarcity. You feed death our citizens who will die prematurely as a result of these pollutants. AI is a dead thing you feed with our precious freedoms, our precious sovereignty, our precious water, air, and land, and our precious lives. AI and all data centers are abominations, a plague, death, and a curse. So I mirror that negativity back at you. Those who readily support, defend, and feed the hungry ghost that is death, that is AI and data centers, may the innocents be spared, the misery and suffering, and may it all come back unto you threefold.
Thank you.
So it is.
Next up is Gabriel Reyes.
That's Junior, I might add.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Reyes Jr., and today I stand before you annoyed, disappointed, and very, very mad. I stood by and listened to that meeting this Wednesday, and I wasn't shocked by your decision. Hell, I won't be shocked in this one either. And after all, you heard the story of Miley Kaczynski and decided who cares if the waters are contaminated before this data center is even operational. You heard from business owners within the town say they will take their business elsewhere and proceed to ignore them, basically saying whatever, who needs you? And then people proceeded to belittle us and shrug us off as a group of, quote, a group of misinformed outsiders. Instead of listening to any of these people, you have decided to take the word of a company who has it in their best interest to lie to you at face value. A company who has a long history of covering up sexual harassment, illegally using the data of its users, and even screwing over one of the founders of Meta. That's the one you chose to listen to, and yet I'm the misinformed one. And so that's why I'm here today. My name is Gabriel Reyes Jr., and I'm running as a write-in candidate for District 10 Alderman. I watched that meeting on Wednesday and saw what I needed to see. You people treat this job like it's just a hobby. I heard one of you people even say out loud that you did not fully understand what TIDs were and they proceeded to vote yes anyway. And I imagine that goes the same for all of you here. We need a change, and I will make sure that happens. Vote for Gabriel for District 10. Good night. God bless, and viva la raza.
Okay, next up is Mark Brzezinski.
From President Trump and his administration, Governor Tony Evers and his administration, including Representative Mark Bourne, Beaver Dam City Council, and the government. Me, 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 me. That's what you all sound like. This was a government for the people, by the people, not a government of me and I with your own personal agendas. Are none of you listening? My God, open your ears and your eyes and see and listen. All these voices are clearly saying no for the first one and the second one and third and fourth. These are not the second coming of Jesus Christ. These are not our saviors. they will be our damnation. It is your civil and civic duty to protect the people and the citizens and the residents of Beaver Dam and all of us surrounding the city. It is your duty to protect the land, the resources first. Protect us. Protect us like these billionaires and trillionaires protect their bottom line, their dollars. It is truly pathetic that all of you got snowed. No one knew about this. NDAs were signed. Did any of you guys realize how much was going to be? How much is this going to cost us, your grandkids, my grandkids, our great grandkids? My God, open your eyes. Do not allow this parasite company to come in on top of another one that's already destroying our town, our city. I guess there goes my freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Is that not the bell?
No, that was, I know, that was some feedback from something.
Oh, that's good. So I emailed all you last week about the CO2 Alliant Energy is going to be producing from Portage. You've destroyed people, hundreds of people's land from here to Portage. They'll take their land by eminent domain if they don't agree to their buyout. How many of you would accept that on your land that you worked hard your entire life for, or your grandparents worked hard for, just taken from you? Pathetic.
Next up is Jackson Brook, I believe.
Good evening. My name is Jackson Brook and I'm 18 years old. I grew up here in Beaver Dam. I'm not here as an expert. I'm not a developer or a politician. I'm just someone who grew up in this community and who will have to live with the decisions made in this room long after tonight is over. And to be honest, I could stand here tonight. I could yell, I could scream, I could even curse at all of you out of frustration. A lot of people probably feel that way right now, but I won't do that. I could also stand here and read off statistics and reports and studies about projects like this. I could bring you facts you've probably heard 100 times. But it feels like facts haven't been the thing missing in this conversation. When I was younger, I was always told that local government was where your voice mattered the most, that this was the level of government where neighbors listened to neighbors, and where the people making decisions actually knew the people their decisions affected. I believed that growing up here. Mayor Mark, you once helped me with a school project when I was younger. I remember thinking that meant the people leading this city really cared about the students growing up here. That moment is part of why I believed my voice would matter in this room tonight. And council members, I know many of you personally. Some of you went to school with my parents, some know my grandparents. I go to school with some of your kids, and we all live in the same community. The kind of community feeling is what drives local politics. We all live together, and we all face challenges together. You have been selected to represent us. That's why standing here tonight is honestly hard for me, because I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. Disappointed that decisions that will shape this community for decades feel like they're moving forward so quickly. Disappointed that it feels like the voices of the people who live here, the people who grew up here, aren't really being heard. I'm 18 years old. I'm just starting my life here. The choices you make tonight will still be affecting this town long after this meeting is over, long after this room is empty, and long after all of us go home. All I'm asking tonight is that you remember who these decisions are really for. Not companies, not headlines, but the people who live here now, and the young people like me who will inherit the future of this town. I still want to believe that in Beaver Dam, our voices matter. Please don't prove that belief wrong. Thank you.
Next up is Rob Gozinski.
Good evening. My name is Rob Kaczynski. And I have a recent update on the effects of the data center this evening. It's heartbreaking, to be honest with you. Bob and Bernie, ages 93 and 87 respectively, have lived on the property since 1974. They live approximately 1 mile from the new data center, directly downstream. So it's the first house you're going to come to right past the quarry. On or around March 1st, their well went dry. This was confirmed by Sam's well drilling. So they had determined that the well itself was dry and a new one has to be dug. They received an estimate of anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000 to dig a new well. And at that age, I'm not sure what kind of impact that's going to have on them financially. But we were told that this data center is not affecting anyone. And clearly it is. And now the facts are coming out. They live 2 houses down from me. How much longer is it going to be before my well runs dry? We've already got the water impact report back saying our well water is undrinkable. How much longer are you guys going to allow this to keep happening? I would ask you all tonight to look at Scott and Amy. They are the ones that are taking care of their parents. And if you could explain to them tonight, look them in the eye and let them know why their parents don't have water and how this data center is not affecting anyone in this room or according to you guys. I really would appreciate it. I urge you not to vote for another data center, and especially not another data center that could hurt people like Bob and Barney. Thank you.
Next up is Sarah Zarling.
Hello. My name is Sarah Zarling, and I'm one of the misinformed outside agitators from Watertown. I would like to call out the elephant in the room that I know that term is being reserved particularly for me and Prescott Balch, who the only reason why we have come here is to help shed light on what you are keeping your residents in the dark about. And it's very clear that Prescott has used facts and math to show why you guys are the actual ones who are misinformed. And it looks like City Administrator Larry is hard at work, really listening to what his residents have to say. I'd like to read from an email from Grant County Chair Robert Keeney and our City Administrator here, Larry Burke, dated February 16th, 2026. Robert, the Grant County Chair, wrote to Larry reaching out saying, today Grant County is dealing with the possibility of a data center. I'm wondering if it would be possible to get a copy of the developer's agreement that was negotiated for the project in Beaver Dam. I understand there may be portions not relative to a project in a rural area with no TID, but we are curious on areas related to the environment, supply, and future operations and restoration. Thanks in advance. Take care, Bob. And City Administrator Larry replies, sure thing, Bob. Attached are the documents you requested. Our common council meetings have had 10 to 15 uninformed people speaking untruths at the public comments portion of our agenda. That's you! So that's how City Administrator Larry talks about you. Yeah. He really likes to smile a lot. He smiled a lot in the Plan Commission meeting the other day too when he was continuing to screw you. I would like to let you know, all of you, that anyone who has participated in anything having to do with this from the moment the NDA was signed, you declared war on your residents. That's what you have done, and you need to live with that. These angry people here before you today, this is a result of your actions, and you need to answer to that and take some responsibility.
Next up, we have Kate Schneider.
Good evening again. I'd just like to know how much thought you council members put into signing the NDA for the data center. Did you at least try to research? They're called monstrosities, which by the way means they are large, repulsive, ugly buildings. Research shows that these centers cause repeated floodings on private property, eventually making the properties worthless. And that's just one of the things
many things that are very bad that these data centers cause. In other words, you council members, by your signatures, are guilty of robbing area, land, and homeowners of their very lives' blood work and the health of the Beaver Dam citizens. Can you live with your decision that you have made? We're all just wondering, does that seem right to you? It doesn't seem right to us. Please, put thought into your next vote. Let's try to make the wrongs that have been done right. Please. Thank you.
Next up is Amber Lancaster.
Hi, I'm Amber Lancaster, formerly Krause. I was born at the Beaver Dam Hospital. I've lived here my entire life, obviously, as well as many of my family members who also have a business in this town. So we're pretty rooted to Beaver Dam, and I was hoping to stay here for a long time. I have a 5-year-old out in the crowd, and that's a big reason why I'm here. Like, if I don't stand up and talk to you guys about this, I'm really concerned about the water. Like, I know they keep saying it's a closed loop system, so it's fine, but that water, my understanding is that it eventually goes back in the water. And I garden a lot. We eat food that I grow. I plan on growing more this year. So I'm going to be putting that water on the plants that we grow, that we bathe in. I don't know. And after we have 4 data centers, like, what is that going to do to the water? Should we even stay here? Like, can I stay here? I have a 5-year-old, like I said, like, I'm here because of her. And I'm tired of swallowing things that I'm told to swallow. We've all done it. We've done it with healthcare, with everything. And this is something we can stand up. It's not too late. And I'm not here to yell at you guys. Like, we're in this together. You live here too. It's not too late. Stop swallowing things you don't want to. It's okay. Maybe mistakes have been made, but like, yelling at each other isn't going to fix it. So we need to work together. And I grew up with some of you and went to school with some of you. So I know you're all good people. Like, I know you are. You're from Beaver Dam. And I hope to be for a long time too. But just try to think about that. Like, we have another generation coming through and we'll be gone, but they won't. And they'll be left with our decisions and our messes. So thank you. That's all I had.
And our last speaker is Britt Bumpus.
My name is Britt Bumpus, and I am quite possibly the only former Meta employee in the entire United States who both refused Meta's severance and also happens to live in a rural small town where they are trying to build a data center. I say trying because after today, I'm going to make dang sure what the city council is doing to this community becomes national news. That is not a threat. Go ahead and look me up. I've had articles in the Washington Post, the New York Times, Business Insider, News Nation, Fox News, CNBC, you name it. I know a reporter. I met with the mayor this past Wednesday, and I have to say it was so incredibly depressing to meet with someone who has zero empathy for their community that she is supposed to represent and serve. At one point, she mentioned how the city has done such a great job in their deal that any residents who have an issue with the Meta data center are going to have to sue Meta directly because the city is not responsible. That is something that came from her. I want every city council member to understand that after today, there is going to be a huge spotlight on you. Your names are going to be in national news. I will make sure of that. Please understand that after today, we need to make sure that this community has done everything possible to stand up to tech billionaires. This is not, as I said during our national anthem, one nation under Meta. This is not one nation under a billionaire or another billionaire. You have to understand, and I don't understand what you are writing, Larry, or you are writing, Mayor Bobby, because I don't think you're actually listening to us. As you stated in your conversation to me, you have already made the decision on TID 7 and to reevaluate this area. It is not okay what you are doing in this community. This is not okay. We will not stand for it.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the citizen comments portion of our meeting. We now move on to the next agenda item, which are announcements. Oh, Frank, do you want to hit the button? Thank you. So announcements, council members, any announcements you want to pass on? Anything coming up? Okay. I'm sorry, but if you're going to remain in the audience, you need to be respectful of the rules of our meetings. Okay. If you can't be quiet, then we're going to have to clear the room. We have a lot of business that we need to get to. Okay. Okay. So when it comes to announcements, any announcements? I have two. Again, you need to be respectful of the rest of our meeting. And if you cannot remain quiet, then we're going to have to ask you to leave. Okay. So okay, with no announcements, the next item up is disposition of the minutes of the Common Council meeting from March 2nd. Can I get a motion? Alder Yads?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And a second, Alder Highland? Thank you. Any questions or comments on the minutes as printed in your packet? Seeing none. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, the minutes are passed. Next up is our city administrator report.
Yeah, so I'd like to alert the council that the Board of Review meeting has been scheduled for May 4th from 2 to 4 p.m. With the objection deadline at 2 p.m. on June 8th and a Board of Review meeting for June 10th. I'm looking to do a special education and visioning meeting on May 5th or 6th. I'll be looking for attendance and asking who's available. And then I wanted to mention, so you can get it on your calendar, that the League of Municipalities is hosting their fall conference on October 7th through the 9th in Appleton. I'd love to see us get a majority of our council to attend that. Maybe we can give it some insight and some thought, and we can discuss that a little bit more as more details become available. We have an election coming up, and shortly thereafter, I would like to organize a special meeting of the city council to talk about budget and planning for next year. So I'll be in touch with some dates, and hopefully we can get that scheduled.
Okay. Next item up is communications.
I do have one this evening, dated March 4th, 2026, from the Beaver Dam Chamber and Visitor Center. Dear Mayor and members of the Common Council, on behalf of the Beaver Dam Chamber and Visitor Center, we are writing to reaffirm our support for strategic economic development that strengthens our community and promotes long-term fiscal sustainability. Fiscal growth is essential to funding critical infrastructure improvements, supporting public safety and workforce development, and maintaining and improving the amenities that attract families and businesses. The Chamber remains committed to supporting efforts that promote long-term economic vitality and enable investment into the community for the benefit of all residents. Strategic, well-planned growth allows the city to reduce reliance on residents, reinvest in roads and public services, and remain financially stable. It also positions Beaver Dam as forward-thinking and prepared to compete in today's evolving economy. The Chamber remains committed to supporting initiatives that strengthen fiscal stability and invest strategically in our community's long-term success. We appreciate the council's leadership as you evaluate opportunities that will shape our community's future. Sincerely, Tim Elby's Board Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy. Next item up is the approval of the bills from February 27th through March 12th in the amount of $1,056,028.26. Can I get a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Thank you, Alder Zopp. And a second, Alder Burnett.
A second.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments about this month's bills? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approval of the bills, so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any? So the bills are passed. Next up, we come to ordinances. Our first ordinance is number 4-2026.
Ordinance number 4-2026, an ordinance deleting section 2-4 of the Beaver Dam Municipal Code. This is a second reading.
Okay, Larry, maybe you want to start off?
Sure. This is a code that lists all of the positions that are directors for the city. It is a charter ordinance. The code is vastly outdated. A lot of the positions aren't current. In an effort to update the current code, I contacted our attorneys and said, this is our new titles. And they asked why we had this particular code, that it wasn't really necessary for the city to operate. At that point, it became clear that we could simply just delete the code. If that's something you want to consider, that's what's being proposed this evening.
Okay, so any questions or comments? And this did go before the administrative committee at their last meeting, I believe. Right, Zach?
Mayor, it did, and we didn't have any concerns. I believe it passed unanimously from the committee.
Okay, so any other questions for Larry or comments? Alder Flaherty?
For my own curiosity mainly, do you remember the specific logic and rationale behind deleting versus revising?
As the conversation went along, I went over the positions that needed to be updated. And then the discussion ensued as to whether the code added anything to the city ordinances. Identifying the positions that work for the city. We have several hundred positions that work, or 170 or so. They said there really wasn't a need to list them out in the code. As far as updating, that's certainly an option. When they advised me, they basically said it's really not necessary, but if the council wants to update it, we can go back and try to update all of the positions. It wouldn't make a lot of difference to our operations.
Yeah, go ahead.
Follow up, perhaps I'm misunderstanding this, but I see that this may, by the way it's worded and taking it out, does this remove a level of rapport and oversight between the council and the department heads?
The matter of practice is not impacted by removing it from law. You can still continue to do as stated in the ordinance. It's just not a charter ordinance. So you would have to direct me to do something differently.
So this does change the chain of operations, the chain of command. You just said so, right?
No. Just because there isn't an ordinance directing that positions are hired by the city council doesn't mean that that changes. You can still hire your positions if that's what the council wants to do.
Yeah, at what part in the process then would that be determined, whether the council should have input?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have to have greater direction so that we know what you want to be involved in and what you don't.
Yes. I am somewhat trepidatious about removing this altogether. I may be alone in this, I'm not sure. But it does raise, at the very least, a pink flag, if not a red one.
Certainly updating the titles is something we could do. I mean, there's nothing, I'm
be,
not advocating one way or the other. It's.
yes, I would be in favor of revision over deletion.
Okay.
I'd like that to be known. Thank you.
Well, and just to be clear, because this is a charter ordinance, any changes that we make to charter ordinances must pass by a 2/3 majority of council versus just a simple majority. So if we were to delete it from this charter ordinance, we could reestablish it as a normal ordinance. And then it would be much easier to update in the future. Because I think the biggest issue is there's been a lot of change in how we organize our city departments over the years, but we've never bothered to go back and change the charter ordinance because it requires such a large vote. And, because it was, not seen as important. It would make the process easier if we delete it from the charter ordinance and rewrite it as a regular ordinance. So that would also be an option. If people do want to have the departments listed in law, I guess that would be my recommendation, is to rewrite them as non-charter, just to make the process a little more efficient. Yeah, Alder Wild?
Yes, I guess I would be comfortable with it the way it's being proposed because our attorney did look it over too. And I think that shows that there was some more discussion than just deciding it should be gone. We had legal counsel advising it also, so I would be comfortable with it.
Good. Alder's out.
Alder Flaherty, part of this is the pivot from a mayor-led system to a city administrator-led system. So this hiring of these department heads rest with a city administrator is the norm with our now type of government. So having this is a holdover from our past, right? So to have an effective administrator, allowing them to have a bit of slack when selecting their individuals that they want to run the departments, it rests on them and the interview team that they put together. We can come in at any time and ask to be, or the mayor could be part of interview teams and whatnot to have that voice. But this to me is a level of micromanagement that I don't think we need. So, thank you.
Alder Olson?
I guess I would have to agree with Alder Flaherty on this one. We've always had the approval of these candidates, and I think for good reason. I mean, if you see in here, it says by recommendation of the city administrator. So the city administrator is still the person who's doing that vetting process. They're still the one in charge of the hiring. It's just that last little bit where they come and present themselves in front of us and we say yes. And we've been doing it for a long time, and I can't think of a single time where we've said no. But it is still one last check and balance along the way to say, hey, this person is okay with by this body as well. And again, it's going to be the city administrator's decision who's going to be put in front of us. I mean, that's what the ordinance says here, is recommended by the city administrator. But I guess I don't want to lose that opportunity to vet that person and say that, yes, this is the person that's right for our community.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes, Alder Hiley.
I've sat here for 2 years. We've seen this in front of us more than once. There was quite a few of us that were for it and against it back then. I'm just curious on the council how it came through approved when it was before disapproved. So what changed your mind to get it through operations? if anyone wants to answer. And if
Your
you don't, that's
admin, yeah.
admin,
Yeah.
admin, I meant.
Alder Zob, Chair Zob, do you recall any of the discussion in administrative committee?
I recall that, again, I mentioned it passed unanimously. I don't think alders went into detail if they did change their mind. I have always been in support of not having this. I've been in support of letting this rest with the city administrator. So I have not changed my position on this. Others on the committee may have, but they did not go into detail. So, but I'll relay that again. It was unanimous when we did vote. So.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Oh, Alder Flaherty.
Just one final comment, and the main source of my unease here is that we're shifting majority of the responsibility of the vetting process onto an appointed position versus an elected one. And in my mind, that takes some sway away from the population. So I would be more in favor of rewriting versus deleting. That's all.
Okay, then I think we need a motion. Alder Zob.
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 426.
And can I get a second?
I'll second.
Alder Bonnet, seconds. Okay, then I believe we're ready to read the roll.
Bonnet,
Hey Tracy, your mayor, second reading, it's gotta have a public hearing.
Oh, okay.
sorry.
Yep. Oh, wait, you're right. It's a second reading. So is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this particular ordinance? With the second reading comes the public hearing about ordinance 4-2026. Is there anyone here who would like to speak? And again, it's just specifically about that ordinance.
Yes, I believe that mayoral duties should be with the mayor and that we should be able to elect the mayor. And I'm not happy with her being a figurehead. And I'm not happy with the way the administrator has been doing things. And we, as a populace, don't get to have a say if we object to what the city administrator does. But we do have a say with our elected officials. So I'd like very much to keep the mayoral duties in the wheelhouse of the mayor. And I'd like them all shifted back to the mayor, honestly, because having them in the city administrator has left the entire city council vulnerable. And why we're here tonight is proof of that pudding.
Okay, is there anyone else who wants to speak about this specific ordinance?
Yeah, we want the power back to the people. We don't want the power in the hand of an unelected bureaucrat. So I agree with Representative Perkins here that this should be, or is it Flaherty, sorry, that this should go back to the people, that the people have, I know that's funny to some of you, but it's not funny. Well, our freedom of speech was repressed on the first chance tonight. So thank you for giving us an opportunity. And this power goes back to the people, no city administrator. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Reyes Jr.
Like to say, I agree with Mr. Flaherty here. I do not believe that a city administrator should have all this much power, especially when it's your job to do that. We elect you specifically to do that job. Frankly, a little silly, I might add. In fact, that's about it. I wasn't prepared to speak on that.
Anyone else who wishes to speak?
Yes, I'd just like to thank District Alderman Flaherty, District Alderman Olson, and District Alderwoman Hiley. Thank you very much for speaking up. For anyone else, I want you to understand that the whole goal of tonight and every night that your constituents show up is that we want a voice. You need your community to have a voice. That is why we are here. That is why I moved to a city like Beaver Dam. So that way people can have a voice, because so much in different communities, that voice is lost. And with this city administrator, I think this voice is being lost further and further, and we need to protect the community as much as possible. Thank you.
Would like to reclaim another 30 seconds of my time. So it was said earlier that the city attorney has looked this over and that should be good enough. There have been so many mistakes on these TIDs. There have been so many mistakes, and all of this has been put out on our city website for us to try to sort through, and there's so many mistakes. And I believe this particular city administrator ought to be disciplined for the email that he sent to the county chair in Grant County. So I really believe.
I'm sorry,
this power should
Mr.
not be in
Radusky,
an
you
unelected
need-
bureaucrat's hands. Thank you.
On this issue, I would like to encourage you to allow this to be an elected position because just because someone is appointed doesn't mean they're qualified for the job. And the citizens are the best qualified for choosing who they think is right for the job. When I sent a letter of 84 questions to city administrators, they were unable to answer them. I was handed a water report that only answered 6 of the 84. The first question was, who is the single designated point of contact for residents to the city? And I was told that was not a question they were capable of answering. Larry answered that. So I would like the chance to be able to vote for someone that I believe and that the citizens believe is capable of answering the questions that we have and has the training and the education. You need to prove yourself to us, not the other way around. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else who would like to speak in this public hearing on ordinance 4-2026? Okay, that then closes the public hearing portion, and now we are ready to call the roll.
Bonnet?
I'm sorry, let's reread the motion. The motion is to approve an ordinance deleting sections 2-4 of the Beaver Dam Municipal Code. So a yes vote is you are approving to delete the items in your packet that are lined.
To the city administrator. And there are checks and balances in the system and the role of the city administrator. With that said, I'm voting yes.
Burnett?
Yes.
Bree?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Flaherty?
No.
Gansky?
Aye.
Hiley?
Aye.
Keel?
Yes.
Olson?
No.
Perkins?
No.
Wild?
Yes.
Yads?
Aye.
Zop?
Aye.
So the ordinance carries. Next up is ordinance number 5-2026.
Ordinance number 5-2026, an ordinance amending section 6-2 of the City of Beaver Dam Municipal Code regarding beverage operator licenses. This is a second reading.
So first, I think we would benefit from a summary of what the question that's being asked. Alder Zop, I don't know if you want to just summarize what happened in the administrative committee. I believe I don't know if the chief is still here. Oh, the chief is here. He could speak to it as well, but maybe Alder Zop, you want to start?
Yes, so this is a mechanism to formalize our process to Mayor. I cannot
Oh.
speak with the public outburst.
Yeah.
If I could ask the police chief to please.
And maybe shut one door, please. Will you shut one door? Okay, Alder Zop, go ahead.
Thank you. So this ordinance is formalizing an official process to review liquor license ordinance, liquor license permits and denials of those permits. So we do not have anything on the books at this moment. So this is a very useful step forward for the city to formalize, document, and manage these appeals, the application and appeal process by ordinance. There's also, we don't have this tonight, but there is a policy that follows behind this that will come later to sort of flush out the details. So if you have finer type questions, that is not the place for this ordinance. That will be in the policy that will come later. So this is broad strokes, setting up the framework for individuals to apply for, and if denied, the process to move through denial.
And I believe the whole reason this ordinance came forward is because someone was denied an operator's license and we didn't have a formal policy to address it. Is that correct?
So we asked, we did not have a policy by ordinance. We had a policy by I'd say legacy and filled in through attorney counsel. But this would establish a policy by ordinance.
Good. Other questions or opinions? No one? Okay, then I need a motion. Alder
I'll make
Zop?
a motion to approve ordinance 5-2026 to add the ordinance for beverage operator licenses.
Okay, thank you. And Alder Burnett? Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we're ready to call the roll.
Mayor, you need a public hearing.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Again, it's a second reading. Got to underline that. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak to ordinance 5-2026 and ordinance amending section 6-2 of the City of Beaver Dam Municipal Code regarding beverage operator licenses? Is there anyone here to speak to that specific issue? Okay, seeing none, now we're ready to call the roll.
Burnett,
Aye.
Marie,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Gansky,
Aye.
Hiley, Keel,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
Bonnet.
Aye.
So the ordinance carries. Next up, ordinance 6-2026.
Ordinance number 6-2026, an ordinance rezoning parcel number 206-1214-2212-002 located at W8219 Hemlock Road from single family residential district to light manufacturing district. This is a first reading.
Okay, and since it is the first reading, we will be seeing this again in April. So next up is ordinance number 7-2026.
Ordinance number 7-2026, an ordinance amending chapter 34, article 2, division 2, recycling of the Beaver Dam Municipal Code. This is a first reading.
Okay, I am going to have to ask you to please be silent. Okay. Larry, were you going to speak to this? I'm not sure who wants to talk about recycling. Todd, you want to talk about this ordinance? It's okay. Okay. You want to just give us a brief overview?
Sure. So every so often, the DNR does updates to statute, and our ordinance has to reflect those changes. So they pass changes along to us. So what you're seeing in your packets is the update to our ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, from the operation committee, we did discuss it in detail in terms of the changes, and everybody was comfortable.
Okay. Okay. So any other questions or comments before we move on? Because it's a first reading, we will see it again in April. Okay, and finally, ordinance 8-2026, which is also a first reading.
Ordinance number 8-2026, amending sections 10-25, 10-31, 10-32, and 50-21 of the Beaver Dam Municipal Code. This is the first reading.
And just so council members have a general understanding, Zach, do you want to just talk about the changes that were made to, this was an ordinance that existed, but changes went through the administrative committee regarding vicious dog?
Yes, the vicious dog. So we had several residents come forward contacting alders regarding animal versus animal attacks and other animal attacks. Our ordinance did not cover animal versus animal attacks. So a large part of the edits that you'll see are to add in the fact that if an animal, domestic animal, attacks another domestic animal, that animal is considered, can be considered a vicious animal. We've cleaned up that language so that the police are able to respond quicker to an attack versus another animal or an attack versus a human, right? So they had, it wasn't quite, it didn't allow for an efficient response. So what you would see is a more efficient response by the police. And again, including domestic pets versus domestic pets in these situations. So I believe that covers everything. And I think the committee was happy to get a chance to clean this up and serve the public interest on this one.
And I believe you talked about it for 2 meetings in a row, didn't you? In terms of
yes,
discussion and then some changes and then more discussion. So
yep, we went through quite a bit.
okay. Okay, so since this is a first reading, we won't be voting. Yeah, Alder Burnett.
We having a discussion a little bit?
Sure. If you have a question particularly.
Yes. I'm concerned that the ordinance isn't strong enough after an attack. That when I read this, I mean, we fine, and the fine has gone up. But one attack is one thing. A second attack, to me, should not be a fine. It should be an expulsion. But that's my view. The other issue I had when I read through this is I cannot get out of this ordinance and not discussing it, is are dogs allowed in a park or not? Because I see clauses in here that say dogs are not allowed in the park, but I know dogs are allowed in the park. So, I mean, I'm looking at you, but as if you did it, but yeah, you kept my dog out of the park. No. So are they in, can you have a dog in the park or not?
So my understanding is we have, there are certain parks where dogs are not permitted. And then we also have dog parks where dogs are permitted. So there's a distinction talking about parks in plural versus parks that are designated for dogs.
I'm talking about non-dog parks.
Non-dog parks should have signage posted saying that dogs are prohibited. And then we have 2 dog parks at least where dogs are prohibited.
Well, I've never heard that before, that I see people walking dogs in the park all the time. And quite frankly, I think that's a good thing. I mean, they got to clean up the poop, they got to be on the leash, but they should be able to walk a dog through the park. And this ordinance doesn't say that, I don't think.
Alder Gansky?
I think it does say at 1031, the first line, it says dogs prohibited in parks.
Dogs prohibited in parks.
Right.
That's my point.
That's what it says, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I don't like.
Oh, you don't like that they're prohibited? Oh, okay, sorry. Misunderstood you then.
Which side are we on?
I guess we're on opposite sides. I don't know.
No, I mean, I truly do believe that in modern society, that dogs, if they're, well, if they're on a leash and the owners are responsive, that they should be able to walk in parks. And quite frankly, I walk a dog in parks. I've never been ticketed. So that's another issue. And, you know, I'm just bringing it up. I didn't mean to blindside you. The last issue I had, there's a reference in here about the operations committee determines the usage of city parks. But the operations committee did not address this ordinance. So I don't know if that reference is just to the usage of city parks or if it's to the ordinance of this, this municipal code. And you know, it's not a trick question. I'm just trying to clarify both of these things. So I saw it when I read through it and I thought, and I may be wrong on the operations committee because that's 50-21. It's called usage of city parks. I don't know if that includes the issue of dogs or not, but anyway, we can resolve that, but I brought these issues up.
Alder Olson?
I'm pretty sure a couple years ago, we addressed dogs being able to be in parks as long as they're on a leash. I want to say it was 5, 6 years ago. Like, I've been on council for a long time. Couldn't tell you when, but I'm pretty sure we addressed that.
Well, I thought it was legal to do it, quite frankly, until I saw that statement here.
If I could weigh in, there were conflicting ordinances. Some ordinances said it was allowed and some said it wasn't. And so when the committee met and discussed it, this is how it ended up. If you're looking for a change, you certainly could change what's proposed.
I would think I'm looking for a change.
Alder Burnett?
If I remember correctly, I think it was okay to walk your dog through the park if you're just going through. I think the issue arose at like baseball games and stuff like that, where people are bringing their dogs and then just having them sit there by the side of the the bleachers with kids running around. You know, I mean, I think that's where this all started from.
Okay, perhaps, since this is the first reading, we will have a chance to discuss this more in April. But one of the options in April when we vote, it would be to send it back to committee. So, or is that something?
Which committee?
Well,
Still have the ability to take action.
oh, okay, so I guess we could, if I get a motion, we could refer it back to either committee. I suppose that would be in the motion.
I'm kidding.
To deal with, to add in the issue of whether dogs are allowed in parks. Alder Gansky?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, I could be remembering our conversation wrong, but we were mostly focused on the vicious dog section and not the dogs in park section. So I think that pretty much everything other than the vicious animal section, there could have been a couple tweaks here and there, but that's where the main changes were. So, you know, to me, if there's a big disconnect on that part, then and especially considering that it does mention operations down in there, you know, it would be fine to have the operations committee look at that if we feel like it's not right. But we were focused on the vicious animals part.
Okay, so if I don't hear a motion, then we will continue with a second reading on this ordinance as written in April. Alder Hiley?
You need a second then?
I don't have right now, there's no motion on the floor. So, and if no one wants to make a motion, then I'm just explaining what will happen if no one makes a motion. Alder Furry?
Can I make a motion that we bring it back to admin and talk about dogs in the parks?
Okay, can I get a second? Alder Hiley?
I would second that.
Okay. All those in favor, let's see. Okay, all those in favor of referring this ordinance back to the administrative committee for consideration of dogs in city parks. So signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so this ordinance will go back to the administrative committee for further discussion. Okay, next up, we are on to resolutions. Okay, so we're going to start with resolution number 13-2026.
Resolution number 13-2026, a resolution awarding the contract for the 2026 sewer lateral and water service replacement program.
And Todd, is this you or Jeremy? Jeremy's going to speak on this one?
So this project was bid out. We did receive one bid. This would be for lead service line replacements along with defective sanitary lateral replacements. Although we only received one bid, the bids were very favorable, less than the engineer's estimate, and comparing to 2025 bid items was lower in most cases. The engineer did reach out to some of the other contractors that were interested, and did receive a response back from two of those contractors. One was not able to receive a bid bond in time. And the second contractor replied that they have bid on some other similar projects and were not competitive, so chose not to bid. So with the bids being very favorable, the staff would recommend moving forward with this resolution and having this contractor, Lamers Construction, which has done work for the city in the past. I guess if there are any further questions, I can go into more detail, but did go through operations with a little more discussion tonight and did pass unanimously.
Okay, any questions for Jeremy? Okay, then can I get a motion? Thank you, Jeremy.
I would so.
Alder Bonat, can I get a second? Alder Perkins?
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? And again, it sounds like operations talked about this, so maybe operations committee members want to put their 2 cents in. Otherwise, any questions? Alder Bonat?
I don't think we have to, but yeah, the operations committee did discuss it multiple times. And, this is the start of the whole thing with the replacement of the sanitary and the lines with the 1,200 homes and all that with lead. And so this is that first phase of these streets. So, and Jeremy has done a really good job getting it to this point, so.
Okay, good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Tracy, then we're ready to call the roll.
Furry,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Gansky,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
So the resolution carries. Next up is resolution 14-2026.
Resolution number 14-2026, a grant agreement between the city of Beaver Dam and Dodge County for Eagle View Addition.
Okay, Larry, do you want to give some background on this one?
This is a grant application that was filed about a year ago. It's for funding to help support the public infrastructure costs of establishing an extension in the Marsh Trail neighborhood to add a cul-de-sac there. There will be 16 single-family homes built on this property. The city has this draft agreement with the county for the grant. It's $350,000 grant to support the public infrastructure. And then after, if this is approved, then we'll pursue a development agreement with the developer, and our engineer will bring forward the layout of the lots and the plans for consideration. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, can I get a motion? Alder Burnett?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And can I get a second? Alder Burnett? Any questions or discussion? And I would like to comment that, and I'll aim my comments at Alder Burnett, that this was the initial round of a new grant program that the county has that's designed to spur new initiatives around the county. And so I think we were really fortunate in the first go round to get a significant award. And, you know, I think we need to thank Dodge County for giving this opportunity to municipalities around the county. So, okay, any other questions or comments? Yeah, Alder Hiley?
Was this presented to us? Have we seen this before? Was it the beginning of over 2 years ago? We saw this. This is the same. Now we were just getting grant.
Correct. This is to approve. We've seen the proposed development, but this grant has been added to that proposal.
In the grant that is that we have received is $350,000 to the city.
Well, Larry, do you want to explain
Yeah.
how the money will,
The
how the money
city
will?
is ultimately responsible. And what you'll find is that in the development agreement, we're gonna push that responsibility onto the developer so that if the project doesn't go forward or if there's a problem, we'll be able to secure our reimbursement money from the developer in order to pay back the grant to the county. So we're gonna transfer that responsibility to the developer.
And the county just wants to make sure that the city agrees to their terms with this grant before we go forward with a developer's agreement with the developer. And that will come before this body soon. We're not sure exactly when it's negotiated.
Okay.
Yeah, Alder
Just
Burnett?
just a footnote that if you looked in the detail of this, that these are all planned to be $400,000 houses though in that area. So I'm just saying that in past discussions on affordable housing and different developments, that this one is at the 400 level.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, then we are ready to call the roll.
Fisher,
Aye.
Oh, yep, I need I'm sorry, Mick, hang on.
second.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Well, we have a second.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mick, go ahead.
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Yansky,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
Bonnet,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
And the resolution carries. Next up, resolution 15-2026.
Resolution number 15-2026, a resolution disallowing a claim from Charlie Brown's Bar LLC for excessive taxation.
And let's see, Larry, were you going to speak to this one?
I can sure try, but the chair of the admin committee, we just dealt with this at our last meeting. Do you want it? Okay.
I can take a first crack at it. So we did have legal representation from the municipality with us and admin to discuss this item. We were not part of the interaction between Accurate and Charlie Brown's when I'd say a grace period was allowed for the $100,000 valuation. The sale of the property was actually slightly more than the $429,000. And when property is assessed, it's assessed for the total value of that sale. That's one of the ways to do it. And that was sort of their issue. So again, the legal representation that we had recommended assessing the property at the full value, which is the 429. They also let us know that Charlie Brown's did not follow the proper procedure for objecting to their assessment. They pretty much cut the city out of the process and are here, making this plea now. But it did pass through the committee disallowing their claim.
And just for information's sake, just a reminder that all citizens have the ability to challenge the accurate assessment appraisal of their property. And the first step is to attend an open book with the company, and the Charlie Brown's did not do that. And then the second step, if they still disagree or aren't able to work out the differences with the appraiser, then they come before the Board of Review. And Charlie Brown's also did not do that. So our insurance carrier is recommending that we disallow this claim. Alder Wild?
I have just one question with reading that. It was a little confusing to me because it says in there that the $100,000 is the taxation. And I think maybe that should have been the assessment in the letter, in the proposal that came forward. Did I just read that wrong?
I could see how it's interpreted that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But We're
Doesn't it
talking
sound,
about,
so yeah, maybe that should say assessment instead of,
it's the taxable value, not the taxes paid.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
we're talking about disallowing the claim to reduce their
Sounds like his
assessed value.
taxation is of 100,000.
And that was in
Yeah.
the cover memo.
Yeah, I can I had to read a couple times. I can see how you're interpreting it.
Yeah.
But the resolution gets into more detail about the taxed amounts.
Yeah, the taxed amount sounds right. It just was the wording. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Tracy, we're ready to. Oh, okay. Now we need a motion. Can I get a motion? On resolution 15-2026, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance, resolution 15-2026 to disallow Charlie Brown's claim.
And a second, Alder Wild.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Now we're ready to call the roll.
Flaherty.
Aye.
Gansky.
Aye.
Hiley. Aye. Keel.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Perkins.
Aye.
Wild.
Aye.
Yads.
Aye.
Zop.
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
Hurry.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
So the resolution passes. Next up, resolution 16-2026.
Resolution number 16-2026, a resolution to appropriate a donation from Quick Trip to the fire department.
Okay, and is there anyone from the fire department who wants to speak about that? Chief, you wanna?
Yeah, so this is just a donation from a grant program from Quick Trip. I believe in the last 3 or 4 years, this is their third or fourth such grant, either to the fire department or the fire department community foundation fund. So this money specifically would go towards replacing thermal imaging cameras. So.
Thank you. Can I get a motion? Alder Olson?
Motion to approve.
And a second, Alder Hiley?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Then I think we can vote.
Yansky.
Aye.
Hiley. Aye. Keel.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Perkins.
Aye.
Wild.
Aye.
Yads.
Aye.
Zop.
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
Hurry.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
30.
Aye.
So the resolution passes. Next up, resolution 17-2026.
Resolution number 17-2026, a resolution establishing a City of Beaver Dam Housing Insecurity Fund within the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation.
And I'm gonna start with just a little bit of background. Late last summer, I believe in August, Beaver Dam has historically had 2 small homeless shelters. One was for women and children and one was for men. And those 2 homes were, they were separate homes, and they were run by the Central Wisconsin Christian Action Coalition. They had been run by them for some years. And in August, the coalition announced that they were no longer interested and were unable to continue to run those shelters. And so those shelters were closed in September. And so that fall, the city leadership, we decided this was something we needed to address. And so starting in late October, we began having a series of meetings with local stakeholders. Traditionally, homelessness in Beaver Dam has been handled by nonprofits with some city support, but mostly it's been directed either by, various nonprofit entities. And so we asked representatives from nonprofits, we had representatives from the county, we had one from the state, to actually anybody who was interested. We opened up the meetings to anybody who wanted to come and talk about what are we going to do about this problem, because winter was coming and we had no homeless shelters. And this group continues to meet. The initial goal of the group was to provide a warming center just for the winter, because we felt that was doable. That was something we could do quickly. And we were able to open a warming center in Trinity United Methodist Church. They were absolutely wonderful. They stepped up and with cooperation from the Salvation Army and the Community Foundation and other groups, they were able to find and train volunteers to bring a portion of their church building up to code so that it was suitable for an overnight operation. And that warming center opened, I don't recall, January maybe, early February. And so we, Trinity United Methodist has been a warming center for any homeless, anyone needing shelter from the cold. Tonight or tomorrow night is their last night in operation. So this organization's next step now is to move on and to start looking at a longer term solution before the cold weather sets in for next year. In the meantime, I have had people interested in making donations to this cause for something more permanent. And so that is why I'm bringing forth this resolution to establish a fund within the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation so that anyone who is interested is able to make donations now, so that we will have some seed money for when we have next steps that we want to invest in. I want to make it clear that throughout these meetings, the city has not changed its traditional position in terms of providing homeless relief for people who are unhoused. That the city is not in a financial position to fund its own homeless shelter. If we were, this would be a completely different conversation, but we have always relied on a coalition of nonprofits to make that happen. And so that's the direction. We're continuing with that tradition. Nothing is changing. This just sets up a fund to help us gather money for the next steps. So can I get a motion and then maybe we can discuss? Alder Olson?
Motion to approve as presented.
And a second, Alder Gansky?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, questions or comments or opinions? Oh, Alder Hiley?
Once these funds come in, then I understand that funds will come in, because I know there's quite a few nonprofits and businesses that will donate to this. We're going to hold on to this funded money until a group of people decide what to do with it? Because this doesn't really say, once we have the money,
right,
what's going to happen?
Yeah, and that's a good question. First, I want to point out, we deliberately named it Housing Insecurity Fund because this group has been discussing lots of potential steps to take. And so we wanted to make it broad enough to encompass all the different ideas that have been put out there. The other thing we should note is that in the past, the city has been asked to support some of these efforts. You may recall, was it a year ago? First the admin and then the council approved funding for Joe's House, which, while not a homeless shelter, it's a similar kind of facility. And so anything that the city would be, this would be city money. And so any kind of major city commitment would come before this group. But this is a place to house those funds until we, have a plan.
Doesn't it
Algebra.
also, the reason that I would think this is set up like this is it gives the people a tax break.
Exactly.
501c. So.
Yeah.
Rather than just giving it to some random organization, if you give money to this, you can deduct it from a tax.
Yeah. So did that answer your question?
Just to follow up, I'd
Yeah.
like to thank the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation then for their work on this, because I know that this has been probably a project. So I see Tom in the audience, so thank you.
Yeah, he has been involved in our series of meetings. We were meeting weekly for 3 or 4 months. Now we're down to every other week, and Tom's been there. I'm a great supporter. So good. Anyone else comments or questions? Okay, then I think we're ready to call the roll.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yuds,
Aye.
Zap,
Aye.
Bonnet,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Marie,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Gansky.
Aye.
Okay, next up on the agenda. Oh, and item number 5, discussion and possible action about impact fees. We've decided to table that. That was in connection with the guest speaker we were supposed to have at our last meeting, but that guest speaker was unable to reschedule for today. And so that guest speaker will be coming in May. And so we felt it would make more sense for us to have the discussion after we hear from the guest speaker. So we're just going to table item number 5 on the agenda until the guest speaker is available, which is in May. Okay. So that takes us to item number 6, which is entering into closed session. Tracy, you want to read? Or do I need a motion first before you read
You
it?
should read that and then.
I should read that? Okay.
Then we'll make a motion.
Okay, so the Common Council may move to enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons, specifically to discuss possible properties for a North Side fire station. Can I get a motion to go into closed session? Alder Flaherty?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Alder Wild?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor of moving into closed session? So,
Need a roll call.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Keel. Aye. Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yuds,
Aye.
Zap,
Aye.
Bonnet,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Marie,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Gansky,
Aye.
Hiley.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. So what that means is the only people that can remain for closed session are the council members and people specifically invited to speak. So that would be the fire chief. And is there someone from Five Bugles here, chief? Okay, so it would just be the fire chief. So